Welcome to We the World and our 2025 MLK Manifesting the Dream event. Each year, we take time to remember Martin Luther King Jr. and his beloved community. And each year, we are thrilled to feature the many people and organizations who have taken action to be of service, not only in January and February, but all year round. We at We the World welcome you to take action and be of service at we.net/MLK from January 15th to February 28th. Please join us in being a part of this annual celebration and consider being of service in your communities and with us. Of course, donations are very appreciated at we.net/donate. My name is Yana Larson, and I am the HR and Deputy Director of We the World. Today we have a very wonderful panel who is moderated by Thato Gabaitse, who is a Botswana-based entrepreneur and philanthropist. As founder and director of Lemon and Vinegar Ltd., she specializes in the distribution of agricultural produce, machinery, and equipment. With 6 years of experience in livestock and rain-fed crop management, Thato is a qualified horticulture enterprise manager, providing consulting and advisory services. She is passionate about building partnerships and engaging stakeholders to develop impactful programs addressing social constructs like age, gender, and race. Thato excels at team building and program construction tailored to specific event and thematic needs. She is also a longtime We the World volunteer and mother and valued member of our team, and we love her. Welcome, Thato. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Yana. I'm excited for today's panel, and I can hear that through the introduction, even our audience is going to have a jam-packed takeaways. On today's session, we'll be having creative arts and technology for global impact, harnessing arts and technology to address global challenges. And the panel will explore the transformative power of creative arts in addressing global challenges, including mental health, education, and social inclusion. On our panel, we have Emmanuel, founder and CEO, project coordinator and visual artist, painter, with over 8 years of experience, and the founder of Faces Up Uganda, an NGO that empowers underprivileged children through creative arts and mentorship. Then we have Tumaini, who's a passionate climate activist from Tanzania, dedicated to empowering children and youth to take an active role in combating climate change. As the founder and team leader of the Kayeo, apologies if I'm murdering the name, Tumaini is at the forefront of inspiring the next generation of environmental stewards. Then we have Eric, who's a passionate community empowerment activist with a strong focus on improving the lives of rural women and youth with a background in social sciences from the University of Rwanda. Eric has dedicated his career to advocating for social change, focusing on sustainable solutions that promote self-reliance and long-term empowerment. So this panel, our panelists are well experienced. Our opening question: why is it important to integrate creative arts and technology into global development strategies? And how have each of you seen this power of creative arts and technology transforming lives in your respective fields? We'll start with you, Emmanuel, then followed by Tumaini and Eric. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed. There's a bit of a, if you can speak a bit louder, yes.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, that's good.
Oh, okay, sure, that's okay. Hello, our wonderful viewers, the panel, but also the amazing team from Moderator. My name is Emmanuel Sskitto Kalule. I'm joining this call from Uganda, just where I'm based. I most time refer to myself as an artist of artists. And I have the privilege to be the founder of the organization called Faces Up Uganda. Before this organization, I pursued a bachelor's degree in industrial finance from one of the biggest art schools in East Africa. And during my time at the university, I always asked myself, what do the artists that graduate out of the art school do after their graduation? I was very curious to understand what pathways they were taking, but also if any of them was making an impact. I realized that the majority of these artists were busy in their studios, creating incredible works, but their works not having an impact in the communities where they were living. I asked myself a question: how do I use the skills that I was getting from the university to create an impact in the community where I was living? It's from that question and that curiosity that inspired me to found the organization called Faces Up Uganda. At Faces Up, we employ creative arts education as a catalyst for rehabilitation and empowerment of young people from vulnerable backgrounds. Creative arts is such a powerful tool. I know many of us, sometimes society denies the power of the arts, but each and every day, each one of us consumes art in different forms. The fashion that we are, the clothes that you're wearing, the music that we listen to, the pictures that we love to look at, the movies that we enjoy to watch, the spaces that we walk through. There's like so many forms of art, but sometimes the power of the arts is subdued and somehow is undermined.
Mm.
And creative art is such a powerful tool. And the understanding of technology is being the future. The integration of both have such a profound power that they can have, especially in transforming the lives of young people.
Mm.
Why is creative art very important? I would speak from the point of the opportunity that it creates. Arts have a fundamental and a universal language, I can say. Sometimes we go to new places, we don't know the language, but when they play their music, we find ourselves lost into the lyrics and also the beats. Because of its universal language, every person can relate to it. And so when we bring arts, physics, technology, we have such a powerful tool that can bring people together without even having to first question our nationalities, our backgrounds, but also the languages that we speak. So the creative arts have the power to speak to anyone at any point in time. And once we harness that, we have the opportunity to bring together communities. I don't know about you, but for us in my community, when music is played, even a child dances. It's so entertaining because arts in different forms bring that element of entertainment. And you know, you can't live life without entertainment. It makes us happy. It gives us the opportunity to appreciate life in the so many different values that it brings to us as individuals. And so every time that we're using arts, every time that we interact with different art forms, we're not only just enjoying, but it's benefiting us emotionally, mentally, and physically. I know at least one of you already are aware of art therapy. Let me give an example in our program. We started our program in 2016 when I just graduated out of the art school. My interest was giving arts access to arts education to children. They just come and find a platform where they can paint. I remember vividly one of the children joined the program. It was just on a Saturday. He came, the fellows brought him to the program, and he came just to express himself. But I remember I asked these children to know what was on their mind. This little boy drew someone who was holding two guns and was shooting at people. I thought that was a movie at first. I asked the little boy to come back again. This little boy, next time I asked, draw what he wants to do in the next 1 month. This little boy drew himself when he slaughtered the chicken. The third time I asked this little boy, draw what you want to happen to you when you grow up. He drew himself when he was hungry himself, when he was taking his life. This correlation of the artworks gave me an indication and a picture of the so many thoughts, the so many emotions that this little boy was not in position to contextualize or even verbalize. But when we gave him an opportunity to draw, he started to tell us what he was thinking about. So I asked myself, why is this little boy drawing all this is drawing? I realized that he was a refugee from South Sudan. And at the age of 8, he had witnessed the extreme of life and he had a lot of trauma. It's from those artworks and those initial drawings that enabled us give him access to our program, which eventually supported him to overcome the struggles. We gave him a very big book to keep drawing whatever that comes to his mind. In about a month, the guns were replaced with flowers, butterflies, sunshine, and also the smile that was hard to see on his face started to pop up. Became very active in the program, but also very happy as an individual. Because of those initial interactions with the arts, it gave us an indication, an understanding of the struggles that he was going through. Again, this young boy is flourishing in life. So it's not only just a platform to entertainment, but it over time gives access to the mental state of individuals that sometimes they're not in position to say. Sometimes you will see people that listen to some matter, and you find out in the end they might be struggling internally. So the arts and the creative arts give us the access to understand the ecosystem that is surrounding so many people. So I believe it's very important and important for every person to access that because it gives them the opportunity to tap into themselves, their inner souls, gives them the opportunity to find healing and therapy, gives them the opportunity to connect with each one of us, but also a sense of entertainment because life without happiness, I don't think everyone wants to live that. So it's that kind of power that comes with creative arts. And we as founders of organizations that are using this tool, we are continuously advocating that at least every day, each person should have access to any form of the arts because it's not just about the entertainment, but it's benefiting them health-wise, their mental state, but also their well-being. And when you fuse it with arts, with the technology, you have the opportunity to have it access everywhere in the world. I can speak so much about this, but those are some of my submissions. But my entire focus and my entire aspiration is to make sure that each and every person has access to any form of creative arts because they are very powerful, very important, and everyone needs them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Over to you, Tumaini.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you to give me this opportunity to share what I know, what we are practice with our children's or community concerning with the arts and technology. As we know, those arts and technology, they go together. And when you apply arts by a power of technology, you allow people to spotlight, to watch, or to see what you are doing. As my fellow friend said, if you are using arts, you give a room or you give a space for many people to receive or to deliver the message where it's supposed to be. For example, in my activities, we tend to use sometimes sport or arts in order to allow many kids to participate in our activities. And when you give them opportunity maybe to show their talent through drawings, through football or soccer ball, we call it, and other some sorts of arts activities, is more you get kids to participate in your activity. So the arts can be used as simple way or simple tools to people to send their messages for what they know, what they believe. I remember one day we ran a photo exhibition workshop, and those photos have been provided with our fellow partners. And when we ran that exhibition, every children or every people within a community have their own message concerning with those photos from our other Mother Earth. So you can see those arts can help to simplify, to send a message to many people at once. But what we believe in technology gives us power, people to distribute or to disseminate our informations. We use those technology in our activities, maybe to share what we are doing with our fellow friends, but also kids to know what their fellow kids in Australia are doing concerning with the climate activities, what a parent in Canada are doing, what parent. So technology gives us a room to share what we believe, but also children from our community to share what they believe within. So that's why I think it's very important to incorporate technology and arts.
Thank you very much, Tumaini. Over to you, Eric.
Eric, did you want to say anything?
All right, thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, I have to say something about arts and technology, specifically in my country. Art is used for somehow on linking our culture with we help our culture to develop different talents from young people and even from the community members, because some of them are talented to use a culture in showing, for example, in celebrating different ceremonies. You can use arts, for example, in a wedding ceremony. Some community members or other people, they can use arts or drawing something or making something that is memorable, including like drawing pictures of the those ceremonies. So that's pictures or that's art can bring a memorable event, make that event to be a memorable. So when come back in my community specifically, because is the way I focus my daily operations. When I link arts and technology, as my colleague said, especially Tumaini, these technologies is, I can say, it's making our world into one place, because it's very easy for us to transform some informations from here to there, from one place to another, and to run something from other things become easier, because those technologies, specifically in young generation, it's really helping our lifestyle. So arts, or I can say we can add art in our day life, because as I say, art is like here, specifically here in Uganda, it's used in our culture. Because when you need to decorate something, you can use arts by doing something by using different colors, paints. So I can say art, it's really very needed. It's very important in our day life. So arts and technology, it's really very important. So I can say also about arts, because about technology, because nowadays, current life, technology, it's used in everything we use, because you can use technology when you are transferring money, receiving money, when you are taking some courses, when you are discussing with some different people around the world. So technology, it's very, very important. So as a community activist, sometimes I use technology by running different approaches that I can use in empowering my community. So by I can exchange different ideas from other community activities. So I can say community empowerment needs arts and technology as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question I wanted to ask. When I think about art when I think about Africa, I think about lots of color, lots of colors put together. Like the picture that's behind Emmanuel has a lot of color in it, and and um, I like color, lots of color. So I'm a color person, but I also think of dance as being a form of art in Africa, as a whole community gathering together and dancing. Does anyone want to talk about that? And of course, there's different significances about what the dances mean.
Yes,
You don't have to.
I can go. I can go and speak about it because, just like I mentioned, creative arts is in so many different forms. It is in the performing arts, but also the visual arts. It's those moving pictures. It's the music. It's the poetry. The dance. The installations. And when you talk about dance, because dance is so embedded in all the African cultures, music in itself. And you find that dance is not only just for people to shake their bodies, but also it's a form of them to exercise. By the time that you look to dance, you find that you burn a lot of calories and you're even more fitter than you were. And so it gives that entertaining kind of workout, I can say. And also because of the significance dance has, especially just like my colleague was saying, Eric, in different ceremonies, there are certain dances that are performed. And when they're performed, it makes us feel associated to our origins, but also the tribes and the culture that we are subscribed to, all the cultures that we belong to. Every time that you see, for example, you're moving in the streets of New York, let's just say, or in Botswana, and then you see someone dancing your traditional dance, how would you feel? You feel that you belong. You feel you connect. You feel associated. So this kind of forms of the arts, whether in our countries, whether in different spaces, it gives us a sense of belonging. For example, here in my country, my tribe, we always dance. And when you someone dances, even though they don't tell you where they're from, you can tell just by the way they dance. So it gives us a sense of identity. And it's very important for each one of us as individuals to have something that we identify with. And these arts have given us the opportunity to subscribe, but also to identify to something which is even bigger than ourselves. And you see, even for example, you see children when they're learning to express themselves. Sometimes they start with moving their bodies, dancing, even before they speak. They're trying to express themselves. You find that even the times when they're happy, there's certain dances that they can do. Or even when they're sad, you find that even when they're making these movements, they're trying to send a message. And because of this kind of creative arts and this kind of forms of dance, it gives us the opportunity to understand people, but then also gives us the opportunity to appreciate life.
And I also think that, well, I happen to know because I've studied this that African cultures are um, very sophisticated in in their foundations, and there's a lot of I mean, there's a lot of communication that's nonverbal just through the movements of the dance and the colors and the music. And for example, our rock and roll in America comes from African music. The roots is in African music. And I mean, it's just so fascinating. It would be so interesting to know what it all means, but I'm sure it doesn't even have to have a meaning. It's just movement, which is meaning in itself.
Yes, I'm back. Johanna, can you repeat your question, please?
Oh, I was just saying that I was mostly making a comment that about when I think of Africa, I think of lots of color and dance, but I forgot to add that I think of music just in the forms of rhythm, you know, the drumming and it all having meaning. And I'm sure it's a way of, there are messages just with the different beats, I would think. And it's all very sophisticated.
Yeah, yeah. That's in most of African countries, and I will speak specific in my community or in my area. We always dance to celebrate an event. Maybe we dance during a harvesting time, but also sometime we dance. I don't know, Thato can be maybe can be same with the some other people, but maybe some people dance when those boys are moved from children to youth stage. We run some events, so we go with the dancing. But according to my tribe, or even death, after you run a burial service, some people tend to dance in order to celebrate the life of that person who passed away. So in Africa, always dancing is relating with the celebrating victories, but it's depending which kind of victories. But when you say about rhythms, for example, in our country, we have our common musics. We call it bongo flavor. Yeah, bongo is the name of our country. So bongo is most people tend to say bongo. So I don't know where it's coming from, but flavor is most of our music originated from youth. But also we have a very common coastal music called the tarab, and all those they have a messages when they dance. So dancings go with the celebrations. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Yana, for that question. I think it really goes back, and I'm glad that they could share more in detail that we use creative arts not just in storytelling to preserve our heritage and culture, to pass down ideologies, myths, facts, and our identity from generation to generation. I don't know nowadays, like Tumaini was asking if I can dance, but I can identify some dancers, but because we have somewhat lost a bit of our culture here and there with modernization, I'm not able to practice some of that, but I know there are some people in some communities who are still able to do that, which then brings me to my question. How can CSOs and policy makers, better support initiatives that use creative arts for social inclusion? Because I feel like we need more and more of these initiatives, not just for storytelling or heritage preservation, but to ensure that we have inclusivity in education and mental health, in improving mental health outcomes. Eric, you can start with the conversation, and then whoever wishes to will go next.
Eric, can you start off the discussion? I don't know if you heard.
I think he's having some trouble.
Yeah. Can you hear Eric? Or thumbs up, thumbs down?
Okay.
Going
While
to,
he's still sorting out
yeah.
his audio, maybe, yeah. Emmanuel can, or Tumaini can go.
I think I can go and just to iterate on the question that you asked, how can governments support the development of the creative arts?
Yes, even as civil society, because most times we focus on the government, but we have to have integrated efforts. How can we all come together to nurture that and make sure these initiatives are scalable?
Okay. Absolutely. Again, the world and life has given us so much, and creative arts including. And sometimes what really, for example, in my country, I don't know in other countries, sometimes there's a lot of stereotypes around the creatives, people that are venturing into the creative arts. Sometimes they are deemed to be non-successful, don't have a better career pathway, not even having a lot to contribute to society. So even though with so much that the world is benefiting from the arts, sometimes the power of the arts is pushed to the margins. Arts are pushed to the margins, and I believe civil society organizations need to acknowledge the power that creative arts is having in the sense of advocating for the rights of artists, copyright in a sense, because we find that many artists are not making the margins of money that they should because their arts are being consumed at free of charge. Maybe civil society organizations can now come up and push for policies that enable artists to benefit from their craft, but also their arts and skills. So in that way, it is giving an encouragement to the artists, but also the entire sector to see people seeing it as a potential business, but also as a potential source of livelihood. Civil society can also fund arts education programs. I know when you bring about a program, let's say you want to train young people in music, and someone proposes a project of distributing, let's say, mosquito nets. These are all very important, but you may find that the project of distributing mosquito nets is taken as more powerful than the project of offering music. But you find that the mosquito net may be benefiting one person, but the arts may be benefiting the community. So what I'm also calling in is civil society should change their priorities and invest in the arts. Because through investment, the arts sector, the arts industry can grow, but also can gradually attract more young people to participate. We already know the arts are very appealing to young people. And if there's more investment, that means that many young people are going to venture into these spaces. And that means this is how the economies are going to grow, but also the GDP of countries is going to be contributed to the arts. Civil society organizations can create opportunities of capacity building. Recently, I attended an exhibition, a very brilliant exhibition that was having 5 artists, young artists showcasing. It was a painting exhibition. And when I went into the exhibition, I realized that all the artists were showcasing their artwork, which were very powerful, but not all of them were in position to speak about their art. I approached the gallery and I asked them if I could offer a training for them, giving them more capacity, how they can talk about their artworks in the sense they can rally people to believe in what they are doing. And because of that, next week I'm going to be offering a workshop to 25 artists who are showcasing their artworks, helping them how they can craft their messages, but also how artists need to profoundly speak about their practice in a sense that commands respect, but also attracts people to pay attention. I did this as someone from the civil society organization. I believe civil society organizations need to create avenues of capacity building for the artists, but also the art industry. They have components of business, components of governance, or components of leadership. If we offer this training to artists and the creatives, this is how we're going to strengthen the ecosystem, but also the arts industry and also sector. Civil society can also support development of infrastructure. If I asked you how many museums are around you, it's so hard to answer. Like there are very few. If I asked you how many art schools do you know in your country, you may not be in position to point more than 5. If I asked you where is the nearest studio to record music, where is the next dancing facility, there's nowhere to be seen. Yet within the communities where we live, there's so much young people that want to express in the art. But if there are no infrastructures, that means you're not creating avenues and platforms where these skills can be harnessed, but where opportunities can be tapped. So I call upon civil society organizations to invest in development of infrastructures because these will act as stepping stones to enable artists to do their work better, but also give them an avenue where they can be seen and their work can be sold. And lastly, can create market access. Sometimes artists are undermined because they fail to find market for their work. You find someone has over 1,000 of paintings, they have so many songs, they have so many poetry pieces, they have so much of passion, but are failing to find market. So if civil society organizations can create linkages where they can help these artists market, or even where they can become brokers, where they get the art and they distribute, they get an income and the artist takes. So I think it's efforts where the trust in our country say, where so many touch, their energy can be felt. Where one touches, their energy can be dismissed. So I think it's that confined, that coming together, that then the civil society can profoundly contribute to the development of the creative arts sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Tumaini.
Yeah, I think my fellow friend have tried to say everything what we can play part as a civil society organization, but also an individual as individual. What I think what we can do, which is very, very important, is to bring together those people who are engaged in art industry. I remember one day I have been invited to facilitate a certain workshop on how people can use their art to amplify climate voices to youth people. So some people come with very, very many things, but what I discover, many artisans or arts industry, people run it, even themselves, they don't know what they are supposed to do. So it's very important to tell them what is value of their work, but also to stand to fight for their copyrights for their activities. So civil society or individual can do two things which are very good. One, to bring them together, but also to give them information on the value of their work. So this can go close with the protecting their copyright of their work. So I think that's very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Eric, can you?
Yes, thank you very much. On my side, I think civil societies and government, first of all, they can understand the importance of arts and technology. For example, the message delivered through arts, it's more understandable than other sort of type of message delivery. So government can emphasize on or putting more efforts in making sure that arts or the young generations or the community members in general are understanding or accept or using free the arts in delivering different messages to the communities. For example, different non-government organizations or civil societies during the different campaigns, they use different songs. They use different 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 arts object like painting something in order to shape the message that they want to deliver to the community members. So first of all, they have to make sure they have to emphasize or to recognize those powerful of art and technology. So when arts and technology is recognized, so the message or the power of arts, it's will be very useful in delivering a certain message to the large people. And here I want to focus also on arts, for example, in schools, because for example here in Rwanda, we have a such competitions of arts where children or young people design or print something, but here the government or education institutions provide a certain theme or a certain topic to work on, which is really help those students to increase their capacity of using arts and technology in their daily life. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. I think that, well, in America, this is always been a problem, that one of the first programs that will be let go in a school if they aren't getting their tax money and such to keep everyone going, the first thing to go would be art and music classes. And I think everybody can agree that when we think of what makes a civilized society, it's not only that there is a community agreement about how to behave, and there are people who are providing certain functions to keep the community going, but there's also the art and music and dance. The artistic part is an important part of showcasing, featuring the beauty of that society and throughout time. And so I'm always wondering, well, why is that the first to go? I mean, I know it's hard to figure out what to take out, but you don't have to take it out. You can just like take back a little bit of everything or find other ways to keep it included in. But I think it's important for the overall, for the whole person. And, if everybody can feel like they have an opportunity to be their best selves and express themselves, it makes for a very healthy community. So anyway, that's my little soapbox statement.
Thank you, and you're absolutely right. I also feel it's not fair, because in most cases you find that already as it is, arts, music are deemed as extracurricular activities, and there's not a significant budget dedicated to them. So even when funds are limited, it's really not that hard to keep it, because it should enhance the creativity to utilize what we already have,
Well,
and it really
it doesn't have
kills.
to be expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was a preschool teacher, I had my kids bring in their trash. I mean, cardboard boxes, plastic jars. I mean, you could do all kinds of things with leftover stuff, and I'm sort of guilty of this myself still. I still have drawers and bins and boxes of things that I find, and I go, I could do something with that somewhere, somehow, someday. And, so it doesn't have to be expensive, but it is important for just enjoyment, pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. And what we're seeing nowadays, and I hope with the rise of technology and AI, what is the role? What does the panel think of the role of AI and digital media in expanding access to creative education and creative arts? Emmanuel, I can see you're beaming with joy. Please share.
The the conversation around AI in the art space is it's a two-edged sword. It's very important, but at the same time, not so very important. Why I say that? Because AI has come to simplify life, has come to offer assistance to human intelligence, but at the same time, in some ways, has come as a competition. All of us sometimes get into conversation where we say AI is very important, which it is, but certain people say this replaced my job, like this got me out of employment. I have a friend, she used to work with one of those pictures. She used to do animations. But a few months back, she had to take a new course and leave the arts world. She used to do animations and she used to work on some of those big projects. She told me what I used to do, the storyboards, are being illustrated by AI tools. So the company saw I have no use. As much as it's making work simpler, certain components of the arts are being diluted, on the other hand, phased out by this powerful tool. It is very important, it's simplifying life. I have, in my country, there's a very great musician that passed on 2 years back, and they had a duo where they used to sing two people. One of them passed away and the other stayed. But recently, there's a song that was released where the deceased was singing with the one that is alive. They harnessed the power of AI to auto-tune that voice of that person and put it into the lyrics, and they release the song, which gives us the flashback to enjoy the melodies of the deceased person. This is because of the power of AI. It's kind of bringing back, creating some of the what we would call impossible in the normal world. It makes it possible, which is very important, and also simplifies and also very cost effective. Myself, sometimes I use AI to bounce ideas. I can have an idea of something I want to do, and I have a conversation with AI where I ask questions, it give me a response, I ask more questions. So it's that kind of interaction, which makes me save a lot of time, but also help me refine some of the ideas that I have. But at the same time, someone that I used to bounce ideas and used to pay for is not in position to benefit from that. So I see, that's why I say it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's piercing one side and the other side. Like, if someone is benefiting, someone is losing. And also with the more how it's being used in a way that is not regulated, it is causing a lot of confusion. I'm not against it, I'm in support of it, but I'm also in support of regulated use of AI, especially in the world. As we always say that it's the new world, it's the new way of doing things. funders and government partners encouraging the use of it. But when people use it in grants application, they are pulled down slack. So I think we just need to find ways of how to regulate its use, but also create guidelines that don't put humans at the risk, don't put people in these empowered positions, that don't push people to the margins. I speak for those that have lost their jobs because of this very powerful tool, but also speak in support of those that are continuously regulating the opportunities that come with to create more and push more boundaries across the world, but also in the digital space. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric, do you want to share on the use of AI?
Yes, I want to share something about AI use because the introduction of AI start to cause some workers in different in different departments start to fear about that they're going to lose their job because that AI simplify things and make work to be easy. But as my colleague said, this AI sometimes it's recognized, but on the other side it's not recognized. For example, at school, when a teacher or a teacher provide a work to the student, they have to tell them that please don't use AI, and we know how AI is really simplifying the work. So, and I was asking myself, AI is introducing it to just not to help the people to perform well their work or so. And on the other side, AI really provide insightful ideas or innovative ideas when you have something you are working on. So I can say when you use AI in a proper way, or you can, when you refer, you use AI as a reference, or so it can give a better quality work. So, but I'm still asking myself, when teacher or my colleague said about it a lot, when you are applying a job, you can't use AI in formulating maybe your CV or cover it or application letter. And when you are applying a grant, they tell you to use your original or your original ideas. So AI for me it's really good, but different institutions and even the government or other job offers, they can understand that AI can be also recognized when you are using it in different things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you guys have said on using it the right way and having regulations for it. For me, I wish we could be using it especially to preserve our culture and heritage, for storages. Like you had previously iterated, Emmanuel, that we have a limited number of museums, which means even our culture and history is being lost or eroded throughout time, and where it becomes a threat for future generations, because then they will not know where they're coming from and what their foundation is if there isn't any records, because then somebody can just stand and say, I know who you are and this is who you are, which then probably narrating a false story, and then it just exacerbates wars and fear and separation. Now, as we're wrapping up I want to know what are the most urgent steps stakeholders should take to maximize the impact of arts and technology on global development for our audience as well. We'll start with you, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. For me, there are three things I would leave. One is the arts need to be recognized. It's not just a co-curricular activity. It's a fundamental and necessity of life. Two, they should be invested in. Because where the investment is, where people invest, is where the attention goes. If there is no investment in the arts sector, the power is diluted, but also the attention is not given to it. And three, every person should find an opportunity to interact with any form of creative arts each and every day, because it's so good for them, but also so good for communities and development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Eric, over to you. What are your last words on this?
Come again.
I was asking, as we are wrapping up, what is one key policy change that could accelerate the integration of creative arts into global development strategies for our audience?
Yes. One thing that can be focused on or emphasized on, just as first is to know how or what can be done in order to make sure that global movement, importance of arts. So as someone on this platform said above, in this world, different cultures, different traditions are remitted from one area to another. So this AI, this arts and technology can be used in preserving art, preserving culture, because it's where you can find the culture from one place to another, and they can call it, it's going to be, or it can be used as our museum where everyone can go and find the history of a certain country, a certain region, the culture of a certain. So in general, or what I can say on this, this can be used or reinforced because it's going to help us to keep our history and the heritage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yana, do you wanna share?
Yes, I would. I think that one way to keep it, in answer to your question, is having conversations like these, having global connections where we engage with people of different cultures and countries and belief systems, and so that we can know about each other and appreciate each other's cultures and learn about them. And then it also would start within the home, and hopefully there is a home. um, uh, when we were raising our kids, we went to a lot of living history museums, and I don't know if that is something that happens everywhere. I don't know, but it was a way for our kids to grow up with learning how like the early people who came to America, how they and they're coming from a completely different environment to this unforgiving, relatively unforgiving environment in America, and how are they going to get color? So they would use plants, and and they would get dye, and that's how there was different colors. So it's that idea of appreciation of where do things come from? How did people used to do things? And just keeping that awareness and appreciation alive of progress. So is progress inevitable, or is it in danger? And right now, I'm not sure what I think about what's going on with the political situation in the world, but still having an appreciation for what was and what is and what could be is how to keep everything moving in the right direction, I hope.
Yes, definitely. And I hope with these conversations, like you're saying, we'll see, especially in our communities. We have one museum, I stand to be corrected, in Botswana, but we have so much heritage from different communities, which I wish to see, or even take my kids and at some point and say, this is how we used to build houses, those kind of things, so that they can also just know it and not let it just be from what mommy said. So I think that's
Right.
also very beautiful what you did. And I hope that within the audience as well, someone will be inspired to support the amazing work that our panelist is doing, and it'll scale up their efforts and impact to global efforts. And fingers crossed, hopefully, despite the political landscape of the world,
You said that so
we'll
well.
we'll move forward. And
Yes,
yeah,
we will.
that's the end of our session today. And the floor is yours, Anna.
Oh, thank you. Well, I thank you so much for letting me be a part of this conversation. I've really enjoyed being a part. Of course, I know you, Thato, and I know Eric and Tumaini, and I'm newly meeting Emmanuel, and so it's a great joy to know of you. So thank you for being here and all your comments, and Thato for moderating this great conversation. And thank you to Birgit Van Ely, our events director, who helped put this all together along with Thato. And she's also my tech assistant for today. Thank you to our audience, our listeners, for joining our broadcast today. Remember, please join us and take action to be of service at we.net/MLK. And donations are gratefully appreciated at we.net/donate. Goodbye from all of us at We the World.